The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that can.
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
You've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population. This place absolutely outshines it.
It's Wednesday, the 11th day of March, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill in a bit. How's everyone feeling today? It is the middle of the traditional work week. It is Wednesday. How's everyone feeling? Dr. Anthony Richardson has Happy Hump Day, Bermuda, from The Hague. And we've got Claire Warner says, good morning, Bermuda. Really enjoying your program. Thank you for rocking with us, Dr. Anthony Richardson and Claire Warner. We really appreciate you engaging with us on a regular basis. Anyone out there, how are you feeling? Middle of the traditional work week. We'll do a roll call later. We haven't done a roll call in a while. Let's find out where everyone is. But greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today. Unfortunately, our guest for the morning, Dr. Weldon, is not feeling too well, but the show will go on. And we're going to be discussing the state of charity and corporate giving versus empowerment in Bermuda. So this is a conversation that I have very strong opinions about. And hopefully by the end of this conversation, everyone has clarity as to the difference between charity, charitable acts, and empowerment. And hopefully it gives some people, especially Black people who are responsible for corporate giving, some food for thought. The Daily Play is going to be a Name That Place today. Yeah. So I don't know the question. I think no, it's not a Name That Place. It's music today. It's music entertainment. It's music. It's entertainment. Yeah, music and entertainment. Yeah. That's what it is. Alrighty. Audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's jump right into it, folks. Questions of the morning. What are your thoughts on organizations giving to charity? Yeah. And do you think there's a difference between charity and empowerment? Those are the questions. And Anika de Shields says, good morning, TDH, and a happy Wednesday, and a good morning to you as well, Anika, and everyone who's rocking with us. Do me a favor, audience, if you are tuned in, if you're on our website, take the link and share it with someone. If you're on Facebook, share it, repost it, whatever it's called. LinkedIn, do the same. YouTube, do the same. Twitter X, do the same. Instagram, do the same. Send the links through your WhatsApp chats because we're about to go somewhere this morning. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Charity versus empowerment. Charity versus empowerment. Over the years in Bermuda, we've seen a familiar pattern. A local hotel makes a donation to a charity. A local insurance company gives $250,000 to a community organization. Press releases go out. Photos are taken. Social media celebrates generosity. Everyone applauds. And listen, let me be clear. Charity can do good things. There are organizations in this community doing incredible work with limited resources. But the bigger question I've wrestled with for years is this: is charity actually solving the problems or just making us feel better about them? Because the reality is that charity often does something else. It improves the reputation of the people giving it. Corporations receive tax benefits, brand goodwill, positive headlines, and sometimes even redemption after controversy. Meanwhile, the underlying problems that require charity in the first place, poverty, inequality, lack of opportunity, remain largely unchanged. And that's why I've always believed something different is needed. Not charity, empowerment. Programs that create opportunities, skills, ownership, and independence. For example, look at programs like Shake Your Future, where young Bermudians receive professional hospitality training that can lead to real careers. Or initiatives like Black vendor markets, where entrepreneurs are given space to sell, grow, and build businesses. Those are not charity. Those are pathways. They create skills, they create income, they create dignity. And in a truly fair and just system, the truth is something many people don't like to admit. Charity would barely exist. Because if people would already have access to housing, healthcare, education, and economic opportunity, they wouldn't need it. Charity often fills the gaps left behind by systems that aren't working. And sometimes, if we're honest, charity also becomes part of a playbook. A company faces criticism. A controversy emerges. And suddenly there's a generous donation, a press conference, a feel-good story. The headlines shift. Public anger cools. Reputations are restored. But again, the deeper issues remain. So maybe the real question for Bermuda today isn't how much companies are donating. Maybe the real question is, are we building systems that empower people or systems that keep people dependent on charity? Because one creates opportunity, the other just manages inequality. Folks, this is one of the most important conversations that we never have in our community. And I am honestly sick of seeing everyone mad once. We saw it with a company years ago. Every month, people are complaining about their bills, right? And then the company gives you junk food in a grocery bag, and you're celebrating them. The same company does their job, right? If you're impacted by bad weather, and you clap and celebrate. You know, Amari Simon says, if charity isn't anonymous, it's investment/PR. Even if it is anonymous, it's not necessarily genuine because some are just doing it for tax breaks. They're not doing it to change system. It becomes a business. I see your point and I don't disagree with you. No, there are many organizations who do so much. I always say, Lindo's is a model organization, for instance. Model organization. But the way they move is empowering. Bacardi, and so many others. Empowering. But psychologically, I mean, I read the comments in the blogs and stuff after an announcement's made that some rich people who made their money from things we don't even care to know about, who are given stuff, and we're lapping it up. Oh, thank you, this, that, and that, and it's generous. And I'm just like, how did we fall so far? And then I go back to yesterday's conversation about CARICOM, and I'm like, got it. Because we're so indoctrinated, right? And I include myself in that because I know people may say, well, Jamel, when you speak like that, it comes across like you're demeaning people, like you're saying they're not smart. I'm including myself because I'm no different. We were all indoctrinated. We were all taught and told to believe what we do. We were. If we were born in the middle of Morocco, we wouldn't believe the way we live and what we believe is right. So, back to charity versus empowerment. We must be very clear about this. Charity often benefits the donor. Charity can provide companies with positive publicity, brand reputation repair, tax deductions, community goodwill, social license to operate. The donation may help people, but it also strengthens the company's image. That's what it's about. It's a better way of advertising. Charity treats symptoms, not causes, and I continue to tell people this. I remember I was on Martha's Vineyard back in 2018 and got in a disagreement with some Black American folks who were liberal to the core, the big-time Democrats, obviously being there at that time. And I told them this very thing. And they argued. I mean, it was like a gang of people against me. And I'm just like, how did we get here? This is not what your ancestors fought for. Charity is not going to make things equitable for us. Charity maintains a system. It treats symptoms, not causes. Charity usually addresses immediate needs like food and temporary housing and crisis support. But it really addresses structural causes such as income inequality, lack of economic opportunity, housing affordability, and access to quality education. It does not usually do that. Empowerment creates long-term change, folks. Examples of empowerment. Skills programs, as I mentioned, hospitality training like the Shake Your Future program, trades training, digital skills, entrepreneurship opportunities like vendor markets, small business incubators, micro grants, ownership opportunities like business development, cooperative models, workforce advancement. These reduce dependency. You know, when my position, I lost my position with Bermuda Tourism in January 2018. I shared this before. I don't come from a family who was just going to say, oh, well, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to support you. No, my mother was like, all right, time to figure it out. You have to figure it out. You've made millions, fathers. It's time for you to go and do it for you and your family. Dependency is killing Black empowerment in particular. It is killing our opportunities to advance. This is not what our ancestors were fighting for. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. The reputation management playbook, folks. I want to touch on that before I go back to the audience. But before that, I mentioned, and I quoted this years ago, in a fair and just society, there would be no need for charity. Well, in a just society, charity would be minimal. If systems function properly, wages would support living standards, healthcare would not bankrupt families, housing would be accessible, education would create real opportunity. Charity would become supplemental rather than essential. This reputation management playbook is a playbook that people continue to fall for. And I just don't get it. A pattern that's seen globally. Companies, controversy, right? Like the controversy occurs. The public criticism rises. The charitable donation announced. Positive media coverage replaces criticism. This is sometimes referred to as reputation laundering. You know, like money laundering. That's what it is. We are being played, people. We are being played. But let me be clear. Before we go to the audience, let me be very clear about something. There are charities that are of great need because the system is so unfair, like PALS, who do a tremendous job in our community to assist because we have an unfair system. They are there to assist with those in need. Like SCARS. These are conversations they're having we didn't have 20 years ago. It was unpopular to turn in Uncle Jimmy for touching Little John. Some charities are necessary, curb, to educate people about the very things that we're discussing this morning. KBB, environment, the importance of the environment and playing your part and ensuring it's a safe space for us to live. Folks, we have a problem. Psychologically, we love being played. Charity has not done what people make us believe it does for the community. But you know who it does do that for? The companies. Corporate giving. Questions of the morning. What are your thoughts on organizations giving to charity? And do you think there's a difference between charity and empowerment? Dr. Anthony Richardson says, charity in Bermuda has become a drug, causing generations of addicts. Bermudians don't want to kick the habit. That's sad to me. It's unfortunate. And while some charities are extremely necessary, I just named 4. It's not them that are the problem. It's the companies who, someone said to me recently, right? It's like politicians, right? If you ever notice, someone said, and it's referring to the United States politics, create the problem and then solve it and look like a hero. That's charity. Contribute to the inequities, and then you give something as if you're doing good favor. How can we not see through this? How can we honestly not see through this? In 2026, how do we not see through this? Suzanne Ingham says, charity is giving, helping others. It comes from your heart. Empowerment is strengthening and improving yourself, not others. Mickey Parfit Smith can tell you about empowerment. That's absolutely not true. Charity isn't about giving. I think you're missing the point this morning, folks. We're talking about companies giving to charity. It's not about giving. I just literally went down a list of what it is. If nothing else, you will think about what I'm saying this morning, because I'm very passionate about this. Charity is not about charity is about reputational management, it's about crisis management, it's about public relations, it's about media relations. Because most companies who are given to charity have it within them to actually solve the problems. But it's like people speak about cancer, right? They say, you always hear about cancer treatments, not cures. Because treatments make more money. Keeping the problem keeps the business of charity going, folks. This is what I'm saying. We have to think differently. I haven't been frustrated in a while talking about something like this, but the fact that people don't get it, it boggles the mind. Our ancestors did not rely on charity. Charity dependency is killing us. The Honorable former Premier Craig Kennedy spoke on this. People don't need more charity, they need opportunities. Yes, there are charities that play a good role. I named 4 of them: PALS, KBB, SCARS, CURB, even Home. But this is about the companies who play a role that makes charities like them even a need. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Kenton Trott says, good morning to the H family. Deep conversation today. Charity means nothing without empowerment. I was just talking about Lindos over the weekend as they empower and give back. Absolutely. I'm going to use People's Pharmacy, and I'm using some of our partners. I'm going to use HSBC. Empowerment. You might say, how? Think about what I just said, Craig Kinnear said. The amount of people I know who have worked or do work at a People's Pharmacy created by a Black woman. They don't have to go out and let me give $5,000 here, $10,000. Community is what you do for the people within it so that they don't need charity. HSBC, you may say, oh, I hate the bank. Guess what? Your biggest cultural holiday, they continue to back it. Not just by giving money, but creating something around it so that people understand the meaning. It's more than a cricket game. That's empowerment. I don't know what to say, man. I don't. Limestone Living says some charities exist to fulfill fundamental gaps in different systems. Unlike the U.S. charities, Bermuda share a finite pool of funds, which make it more difficult to secure funding. But trust me, the need for many of these charities is valid. I think you all are missing my point. I hope you're not. I really hope you're not. Because you're continuing to focus on the charity and not the giver. And if you heard my monologue, if you missed it, my apologies. We're focusing on the giver. Yeah? Cameron Fox says, gang is the next biggest thing to help young Bermudians to teach them hands-on trade skills with educational experience for Bermuda and Bermudians, growing a new generation. Please look for it. Thanks for that. I'd love to check that out. Cameron Fox. Kenton Trott says, as Ms. Johnson said, the charities that fill gaps are vital for Bermuda. However, $1 million companies that give $5,000 to a charity is just for them to feel good. Yeah. Multi-million dollar and billionaire companies giving $10,000 and $50,000 and even $500,000 sometimes. I mean, they don't have to give anything. I understand that. But it's not empowerment. It's not eliminating the issue, folks. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, receive charity is easy, but self-empowerment is hard. The latter requires inner reflection and a desire to plan for the future, putting stepping stones in place to improve one's life and direction in life, not afraid to track out or learn in that self-empowerment journey. Here's the thing. When you create, I wrote about this in 2010. It was published in the Bermuda Sun. And I spoke about dependency then. I spoke about dependent people. The fact that we can sit here and legit make excuses for charity without understanding the point I'm trying to make. Maybe I'm not doing a great job of communicating it. And I'll go through my monologue again if that's necessary. Charity isn't solving problems for us, folks. It's covering cracks. When you see a company who was just in the headlines for one of the most controversial deals we've seen in recent times come out and give hundreds of thousands to a charity, and then people react like, oh, this is great, this is awesome, and so on. If you can't see through the playbook, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't, at this point, I really don't know what to say. We're going to give some thanks to Titan Express Secure. We'll continue the conversation in a bit because we've got more to talk about as well. All right, so let's give some thanks to Titan Express Secure. Then we'll go to the news break with Teo. Folks, in the meantime, if you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
All right, let's go to Teo Deal for your daily hour news break.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break, brought to you by the great folks at Peoples. Since 1984, Bermuda has counted on People's Pharmacy. 4 decades of care, service, and heart. Here's to 41 years of growing together. Now, one of the biggest local concerns about Bermuda accepting full CARICOM membership is and will continue to be off the table. This from Home Affairs Minister Alexa Lightbourne during her appearance on yesterday's episode of TDH with Jay and Taj, where she explained that one of CARICOM's key features, that is, the free movement of labor, simply cannot work in a country as small as ours.
We recognize that we're a small jurisdiction, and we cannot just, open our borders and be able to invite persons to come on island. We accept that, and we've been clear with the fact that we will maintain our immigration, our domestic laws and current provisions, which sees the fact that if there are jobs that Bermudians are unable to fill, we will then be able to find a mechanism to be able to promote and advertise those to those who may be CARICOM nationals in a specific way. But the ability to just open borders is not one that we recognize. Because of our size, we can just wholesale accept.
And Minister Lightbourne went on to say that her recent attendance at a CARICOM event where trading logistics between the U.S. and the broader region underlined why full membership can have real value for the preservation and furtherance of Bermuda's interests.
Based on my recent experience, for example, attending the 50th convening of the heads of government, so the regular meeting that they have twice a year with all associate members and full members of CARICOM, there were discussions that the topics would have impacted Bermuda, but we were not able to really contribute. We were not able to be in a part of those discussions. And so we know that 90% of what we import or what we consume, we import. We know that U.S. is our deepest trading partner, so to even be not eligible to participate in a discussion with one of our major trading partners is almost an interesting one to accept.
Now, all that said, and following on from our story yesterday about how some CARICOM members have expressed concern quietly about Bermuda's fully joining that body, there's another potentially huge detail that hasn't come up yet in the local discourse on the subject. That is to say, if Bermuda did fully join the Caribbean community, it could revolutionize how the Caribbean broadly finances disaster recovery. We're the global leader for catastrophe reinsurance, home to world-spanning firms like Renaissance Re, and a major hub for catastrophe bonds. Remember we talked about their growth in that market a few weeks ago, these financial instruments that allow investors to fund disaster insurance before storms even happen, right? Now, the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, a regional disaster insurance pool, is already in place to provide rapid payouts after hurricanes. However, closer integration with Bermuda's insurance and capital markets could dramatically expand that system, giving Caribbean countries faster access to billions in disaster financing when storms strike. In other words, the region's biggest financial hub, aka us, and its most climate vulnerable countries, that is CARICOM generally, might actually be natural partners in a way that's immediately mutually beneficial. Great business for us, an essential service for them. Now, tomorrow, we're going to cover 3 huge, gigantic, and frankly, obvious areas of concern that the Green Paper about our full membership in CARICOM doesn't really mention at all. Also, fake money is floating around the island, so take an extra look at any U.S. $100 bills you've got in your wallet. The BPS is warning businesses and residents about this issue since multiple reports of these fake C-notes being passed along in local businesses have come in over the past week or so, with one suspect already in police custody. According to investigators, the Fugazi bills all carry the same serial number and have obviously fraudulent markings like copy, for motion picture purposes, even the phrase "in prop we trust," suggesting they were purchased from some kind of movie production supply store. Real U.S. $100 bills have a blue security strip that shifts around the number 100 when moved in the light, and these ones just don't. If somebody tries to pass one to you, do not take it and call the cops right away at 211. And speaking of counterfeit money, you know who ran arguably the largest counterfeiting operation in human history? The Nazis. They were nearly able to use close to flawless fake British pounds to win World War II as part of what was called Operation Bernhard. The Nazis, using concentration camp prisoners to do the counterfeiting, created the equivalent of $8 billion British pounds, aka fully 20% of the UK's entire currency reserves. You can probably guess this was intended to deeply destabilize the British economy and therefore the war effort overall, but you will never guess how the Nazis planned to get the banknotes into circulation.
The notes are considered among the most perfect counterfeits ever produced, being extremely difficult but not impossible to distinguish from the real ones. The initial plan was to destabilize the British economy by dropping the notes from an aircraft, on the assumption that while some honest people would hand them in, most people would keep the notes and spend them. In practice, this plan was not put into effect. The Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, did not have enough planes to deliver the forgeries, and by that time, the operation was in the hands of the SS Foreign Intelligence.
And today's weather is likely to be a little wet, but we're not looking at any more tank rain this week, at least. Last night's cloudy spells will be pushed out of our airspace by extended periods of sun and the chance for a few scattered showers throughout the day. Winds should start from the south-southwest in a moderate range before easing a bit and veering southwesterly this afternoon before swinging back again tonight. Highs reach around 74, lows near 65. And that's your TDH News Break brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Now back to the show.
Oh, was I talking all that time with no sound? My apologies, folks. That means you're tuned in. Well, it's Days of the Year. Thanks so much for that, Tay. I'll just repeat what I said. It's National No Smoking Day in the UK. All right. It's World Plumbing Day. It's World Plumbing Day. So from hot showers to clean drinking water, plumbers play an integral role in our everyday life. So just want to give a shout out to Yolanda at BAC Group, who's been on the show, and all the plumbers at the BAC Group in the plumbing space. We've got National Registered Dietitian Nutritionist Day. We've got National Wash Your Nose Day. Okay. Do you wash your nose? And we've got worship, like literally, I'm looking at a picture washing your nose. Worship of Tools Day. Now I know the screwdriver and the hammer. No, I know the wrench too. I know the wrench. I'm joking. I have a toolbox, folks. All right, but it's National Dream Day. So I want to ask you all, dreams. Can you remember the last dream that you had? What's the last dream I had? I can't remember. I don't remember my dreams like that. I can't remember the last dream I had. Let us know. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and we're going to continue the conversation about charity. Maybe I muted myself just to see if you all were really listening to me this morning, because you ain't really been saying much. And if you have, you disagreed with me. I'm not trying to change your mind. I just want to get you to think the words of my, illustrious co-host, Teo Dill. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 3 minutes, 57 seconds. Think about it. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
What if the age that really matters isn't the one on your ID? You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carrier Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda Medical House, Linda's People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. For those who have not able to join us from the beginning, here's what I stated earlier in the show, just to give you some context as to the conversation. Over the years, in Bermuda, we've seen a very familiar pattern. A local hotel makes a donation to a charity. A local insurance company gives $250,000 to a community organization. Press releases go out. Photos are taken. Social media celebrates generosity, and everyone applauds. And listen, as I said earlier, let me be clear. Charity can and does do good things. There are organizations in this community doing incredible work with limited resources. PALS, CURB, SCARS, KBB, and many others. But the bigger question I've wrestled with for years is this: is charity actually solving the problems or just making us feel better about them? Because the reality is that charity often does something else. It improves the reputation of the people giving it. Corporations receive tax benefits, brand goodwill, positive headlines, and sometimes even redemption after controversy. You don't believe me? Just look at the comments on some of the stories that are shared by the media. People lapping it up and thank you to you and this, and it's just. Meanwhile, the underlying problems that require charity in the first place, poverty, inequality, lack of opportunity, remain largely unchanged. And that's why I've always believed something different is needed. Not charity, but empowerment. programs that create opportunity and skills and ownership and independence. For example, as I stated earlier, you look at programs like Shake Your Future, where young Bermudians receive professional hospitality training that can lead to real careers. Or initiatives like Black vendor markets, where entrepreneurs are given space to sell, grow, and build businesses. Those are not charity. Those are pathways. They create skills, they create income, they create dignity. And in a truly fair and just system, the truth is something many people don't like to admit. Charity would barely exist because people would already have access to housing, healthcare, education, and economic opportunity. Charity often fills the gaps left behind by systems that aren't working. And sometimes, if we're honest, charity becomes part of a playbook. You know, a company faces criticism today, a controversy emerges, and suddenly there's a generous donation, a press release, a feel-good story. The headlines shift, public anger cools, reputations are restored, but again, the deeper issues remain. So maybe the real question for Bermuda today isn't how much companies are donating. Maybe the real question is this: are we building systems that empower people or systems that keep people dependent on charity? Because one creates opportunity and the other just manages inequality. I hope that is clear, and I will go back to the audience. What are your thoughts on organizations giving to charity? And do you think there's a difference between charity and empowerment? Yes or no? Do you think there's a clear difference? Let's go back through the audience. We'll go to Kenton Trott. He says, one thing I do intentionally is to employ those that others may not and empower them to sustain themselves and grow as people. Yeah. If you employ them, you're taking out the need to give to a charity that will have to sustain them. Just saying. Winston says, give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he would feed himself for a lifetime. I love that quote. Unfortunately, I don't think we abide by words like that anymore. There's been a shift. Dependency benefits some. It benefits those who want to maintain a system, not change a system. Dr. Anthony Richardson says it's the okie doke or sleight of hand. The money from the charity is the shiny thing meant to and does dazzle many. Indeed, it does. Sean Smith says we live in a capitalistic society and solving problems does not make financial sense. Bingo. Absolute home run. But even with that said, are we getting anywhere this morning with this? Are you understanding it, folks? Like seriously, like are we making headway? Do we understand? Remember, I haven't called names this morning, but you all read the news, you listen to the news, you watch the news. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying is true. You could call me grumpy, you could call me miserable, you could call me a lot of names, but you're never gonna call me a liar. This is the truth that's put before us, the playbook. And I just want you all to think beyond what you're taught and told to think. It's time to unlearn. And I will repeat this because I, with my mother during her sickness, was a huge beneficiary of charity. And I am forever grateful to PALS. We also have to understand why there's a need for PALS. You know, I want to go back to Amari Simon's comment early on in the show. He says, if charity isn't anonymous, it's investment/PR. Again, you see the playbook. You see the playbook. Anika de Shield says, is there a tax benefit received in Bermuda? I'm aware of tax deductions in the USA. Well, keep in mind, a lot of companies in Bermuda benefit, but I did receive from someone last night the information. The act allows qualifying businesses to claim a tax credit rebate equal to 25% of qualifying charitable donations made to eligible Bermudian charities. Core eligibility requirements under the legislation: 1, donation must be made to an eligible Bermuda registered charity. 2, minimum threshold: a company must donate at least $300,000 over a 3-year period, can be in 1 year or cumulative. 3, credit value: the business may receive a 25% tax credit on the qualifying donation. Number 4, use of funds: at least 75% of the donated funds must support Bermuda-based charitable purposes. So the example that was given to me by this person says, so I set up a charity, pay my stay-at-home wife to run it, donate $300,000 over 3 years and get back $75,000, give her a $50,000 per year, right, salary. So I really just donated $75,000 minus $25,000 per year. Don't charge me for that, the person who sent that to me. But you get it, folks? Like, do you not understand what I'm trying to get through this morning? Because we, psychologically, we've got to do better. Again, Judith Welch says, I think charities do good work, but are often hindered by lack of political will, lack of public support, and red tape. This has nothing to do with that. I just, hopefully, this was sent before I just read my monologue again. This has nothing to do with that. This has everything to do with the need, the charitable giving, corporate giving, and the need for charity. The focus should be eliminating the need for charity, folks. That should be the focus. The focus should be rethinking how corporate giving is done in Bermuda. That's what the conversation should be. I'm sorry to yell this morning, but I'm passionate about this. I am, because I'm sick and tired, and I'm speaking to Black people in particular this morning, of us being fooled by a playbook over and over and over. I'm tired of it. Watching people play in your faces. Okay, we're going to raise your rate on such and such. And in the office, we're saying, yeah, they're going to be upset. Give them about 2 weeks, then we'll give them a grocery voucher. That's how it works. And we fall for it all the time. Like, I just don't understand how we don't see that we fall for it. Hotels are laying people off, got nobody in them, right? Hiring multiple number medians. But hey, let's give away hundreds of thousands of dollars. That'll keep them quiet. That'll shift the narrative. We just don't get it, man. We just don't get it. Do you think there's a difference between charity and empowerment? Dr. Anthony Richardson says yes. Anika DeShields says yes, there's a difference. What are your thoughts on organizations given to charity, though? We've got Shawnette Sumner, and that's the question, folks. Your thoughts on organizations given to charities, not what charities do. Organizations, that's the conversation. Shawnette Sumner says, you hit the nail on the head. Charity promotes the name of the giver as great people when they may not necessarily be. Could some of it be a donation as an option for tax write-offs? Well, I think you know the answer to that, Shawnette. You know the answer to that, sis. Winston says, look at the documentary, Poverty Inc. It shows that charity is big business. Yes, it's big business. And that's my point this morning. Man, you all got me going Earl Jamal today, man. Seriously. We've got Shawnette Sumner says, charity and financial assistance, all fine and well for temporary use, but people aren't taught how to get off either to sustain self. Empowerment. Manuela says, charity may encourage some to be dependent and look for the next giveaway instead of seeking ways to do better so they do not need to be on the list. Again, I just want to redirect the conversation, get people to understand. The question is, what are your thoughts on organizations like big businesses giving to charity? That's the question of the morning. We're not focused on the work of charity. What are your thoughts, right? We've got Anika DeShields says the charitable giving should eliminate the need and empowering the persons intended to benefit. Indeed, absolutely. Michelle Grant says Band-Aid approach instead of addressing core issues. Root causes aren't addressed. That's the point. When these big companies are giving to charities, they're not addressing the root cause because the root cause usually keeps them in business. That's the point, folks. That's what we're discussing here. It keeps them going. That's what we're discussing. And I hope it makes sense. I'm sorry if I'm coming across very passionate and strong this morning, but I hope I'm not coming across demeaning, because I really want people to understand there's a playbook here. I have not called one company's name this morning. I've mentioned industries. Well, I have mentioned companies' names, the ones who are doing well with this, like Bacardi's and Linda's. I've mentioned them. But I haven't mentioned the names because you all know who I'm talking about. Most of you were up here a couple weeks ago complaining about one organization, not complaining, sorry, concerned about one organization's approach in the healthcare space. But hey, like the playbook, like I told you, it's time for some good PR. Why do we fall for it? I'm going to tell you, and some people will say I'm lying, but I'm not. You all are too intelligent. You are too brilliant. You know too much and have access to too much information to continue to fall for the okie doke, for this old playbook. You're too smart for this. You are too smart for this. Stop allowing yourselves to fall for it. Big businesses giving to charity is not for the charity's benefit. It's not for the people who are benefiting from that charity's benefit. It's not. It's cheap marketing and PR. Or as Amari Simon said, investment. But we don't want to talk about that. Manuela says, could the big businesses provide jobs training to assist those who need assistance? Well, Bacardi does a great job of it. Literally, Bacardi is setting a standard of how empowerment's done in Bermuda. Look, folks, I don't drink alcohol, but I appreciate what Bacardi is doing. I don't even see them as a company that sells alcohol. Honestly, I don't. I see them as a company that says, we're based in this community, and we need to do all we can to empower the people in and around our community. Not because we did something wrong, but because this is just the right thing to do. Anika DeShield says, put funds into investment accounts and a course on financial literacy. That's empowerment. She says, charities need support for those that work there as well to support the actual purpose of the charity. Indeed. Kenton Trott says, I break it down like this, Jamel. If Linda's buys the jerseys for the Colts football team and the employees' children play for the team, that is community empowerment, not just charity. I agree, actually. I don't disagree with that. I absolutely agree. Polly Rich says, makes sense, but while these organizations are giving, isn't it up to the charities to organize programs and empower people? But as you mentioned, Bacardi sees the bigger picture and always have. See, I'm not focusing on the charity, honestly, because again, if the givers, the corporate givers, did enough in their spaces, there would be no need. So there's no need for Bacardi to say, I'm going to donate to financial assistance. You know why? Because Bacardi is creating opportunities for people to either train for themselves for jobs or make money on their own. You get what I'm saying? And I'm so glad Bacardi exists because it's the real example that answers that question, right? So their charity is empowerment because they're saying, no, well, we're not going to give to, and they probably do a lot and give to charities. They do. I know of which I'm not going to say, but they do give to charities. But what I'm saying is they also do empowering things. And for that, I think we should have great appreciation for them. Because what they're doing is they're creating opportunities for people, which eliminates the need for those people to need financial assistance. It will be on those people. It will be on them. Manuela says it's like throwing groceries at people who you wouldn't welcome at your table. Folks, let's wrap the conversation up. I'll say this much. You know what? No, I'll close it after this. Let's take our final break. If you've appreciated this morning's tense discussion, yeah, I know I could be a bit tense on these ones. If you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation for your friends, your family, your colleagues. Go through these final 2 comments before we take a break. Michelle Grant says, charities only exist because we the people aren't finding ways to support addressing the root causes. Well, Dr. Anthony Richardson says the answer is behind the corporate curtain, the people who sit on the corporate boards. Bingo, Dr. Anthony Richardson. He says, Michael Daniel says, I believe that the pace of advancement in the world today makes it impossible for some people to keep up. And that just goes right back to the system and what Dr. Anthony Richardson is speaking of. This is a systemic thing. This is the system. And until we're honest about that, then there will continue to be a need for charity. Folks, do not go anywhere. We're going to take our final break. And when we come back, got a trick question for you. Trick question. It's music entertainment. And I'll wrap it up, give my final thoughts on this charity empowerment corporate giving thing. Stick with us. Do not go anywhere.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
The Office of Consumer Affairs protects residents by promoting fairness, safety, and transparency in the marketplace across the island. We investigate complaints, manage recalls, educate the public, and enforce consumer protection laws to ensure fair treatment for all. Our team supports consumers by resolving disputes, providing guidance, and helping residents understand their rights and responsibilities. We work with businesses to encourage compliance, ethical practices, and trust, helping create a stable and competitive economy. Through education, enforcement, and outreach, Consumer Affairs helps keep Bermuda's marketplace safe, informed, and accountable.
Sorry, folks, you can't hear me again. Well, all right, I'll read it again. My apologies. I keep doing that. All right, folks. Thanks again for rocking with us. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Just want to give a big shout out. Thank you so much to our partners, the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lenders, Medical House Lenders, HSBC Bermuda, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring we can do this with you on a daily basis. All right. People's Pharmacy, you can find the new Bermuda Trivia Sports Edition. Check it out, folks. Seriously, it's a really fun game. You could check Bermuda Trivia on social media, where Mr. Photogenic has had some fun with a lot of people who don't know a lot about Bermuda and Bermudians. You don't have to be a sports fan, but if you love Bermuda, check it out. All right, it's arts and entertainment today. Here we go. So in 2022, Jennifer Hudson achieved EGOT status. Audience, what does EGOT mean? Oh, someone got it by the time the song went. I was sure no one was going to be able to type it fast enough. But Julie says Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, Stacey Ann Brown, Sheikah Rayner, Michelle Grant, Charles H. Jefferson II, Nicole. All right, so you're telling me that everyone knew the answer to this? I thought it was a trick question. Gee, you all watch a lot of TV. That's what that tells me. All right, let's wrap it up so I can let you all go for the day. But we did have a question. Dwayne Keynes asks, how can churches become more empowering in your opinion? Off topic, but it's where my mind goes. Let me give that some thought. I think off the top of my head, I don't necessarily know what churches do because I'm a heathen. I mean, I don't attend church regularly. So I could say some stuff now and you'd probably be like, well, churches already do that. So I will have to give that some thought. Because when I was going to church regularly, I know that churches were doing quite a lot. And I would hate to believe that many of them are not doing that. But empowerment can simply be things like offering after school programs to young people. Those who without work, giving them jobs around the churches. I know a lot of churches now have people doing things like their video and so on. It could be helping clean the church, giving people an opportunity to learn new skills. So I don't know what churches are doing to give a fair response to that. So yeah. Hopefully that's an acceptable answer. All right, let's wrap it up, folks. As far as the discussion today, I'll say this much. And this is your daily inspiration as well. And this is a quote I said years ago on Facebook, and it's in one of my books. But in a fair and just world, there'd be no need for charity. Unfortunately, we don't have a fair and just world. And there are so many charities doing the good work. But the reason they're doing the work is because of the people who are donating to them. You see where I'm going with that? The people who are responsible for the system are the ones who are giving the money to the charities to maintain and sustain good PR. That's my strong opinion. And I cannot go into detail. And again, I try not to use our sponsors, which is why I can use Bacardi as an example, because I'm trying not to show you this is not bias. I have a problem. And I don't think my problem is necessarily with the businesses and companies who continue to operate based on their playbook. You know where I think my problem lies? I think it lies with each and every one of us who continue to applaud and celebrate. When if we think deep enough, we would know and understand that the problem or problems are not being solved. And the only real winner is that of the company or organization who's getting the good PR, the social media likes, and applause at your expense. It's time to let you all go. Audience, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.